Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Mike.
We're back in the saddle, man.
Yes, we are.
All right. It feels like it's been forever. Even though it's been like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when I miss 1 week, it's like,
Yeah, it does.
wow.
But in all this time that we've had apart, they've like cranked out a new version of Sunburn.
Well, they are working on
They
it.
are working on it.
There is a forum post.
Top men are on it.
Top men.
Top
men. There was a forum post.
2017.
2017.
2017.
There were some people asking about where 2017 was, like what the status of it was. And John K., Bob the Sea Builder, said that they were coordinating the 2.0.17 update with something called the Sunburn Resource SDK. And what that is a tool for building, packaging, and publishing community resources. So any sort of add-ons or extensions, kind of like the post-processing we talked about.
Anything that you can build in to Sunburn on top of it, you can now kind of package some of that and then share that with the community.
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, he didn't really post details, but for example, the example was the post-processing effects, the custom effects that someone blogged about a while back, and we actually talked about a few weeks ago. You know, you could package that so that you could share it with the rest of the community. And they're coordinating those two together, and he said there's going to be a beta soon, but I don't know what the timeline is.
Well, I do know with the Sunburn guys, soon is like next week. Like, they do not take their time. They get stuff out there, and they put out preview builds, so you can grab, like, hey, this is the stable build, because, you know, we're close to shipping, and I'm selling this. But if you're just starting the game, you can grab preview builds and start playing with the new features. And, you know, they're very helpful on the new features in the forums. If you run into rough edges or there's documentation is still incomplete, they can help you on that. So, look for that. Coming soon. 2017. Not the year 2017.
No.
Probably.
That's not coming soon.
Before Thanksgiving. It'll be out. But, version 2.0.17 of the Sunburn gaming engine. Check it out at synapsegaming.com. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. We are all finally back in-house for 1 week only.
And then I'll
You'll
be
be back out next week.
Yes.
So I was out last week, and this was the first ever guest hosting. Not really, you were still there, but
yeah.
Alternative location.
Alternate location.
Not even the first on-location GameMarx.
Because we recorded at Code
It's the first
Stock
GameMarx
and
I
Deadly.
didn't host. How about that?
Right.
And you took that. And the week before that, you were out for a convention.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the first
that you didn't even go to.
Yeah, because I was sick.
Yeah, so you stayed home,
sick,
and then you didn't
like,
even log into the podcast when it was live.
Nah, I'm just like, you know, I probably got sick because I was so stressed out with a bunch of stuff. I'm just gonna disconnect, done, use my days off.
I want to introduce our guest this week. Our guest developer this week is Matt Davis of Barker's Crest Studio. Welcome, Matt, to the show.
Hey, everybody.
Matt's games, we have, I think, reviewed 2 of them. We reviewed the Home Run, Avatar Home Run. What was the name of the baseball hitter?
Is a Home Run Challenge?
Home Run Challenge. That was part of our top rated of all time games. When we...
I don't think that was one I reviewed.
No, I reviewed it.
Okay.
That was in our list when we put the list together of... I think we...
I probably said sports, not it.
We included it in the video. Remember we made that little trailer?
Yes.
That little bumper that we really didn't do a whole lot with. But spent a lot of time editing. There's even like a slam in there. But more recently, you have done the Avatar Legends. And when I was on Baker's Crest Studio website, you know, you said it's just you. Was it just you for the Avatar Legends? Was that all you, or did you bring in some people for assets, or how did that go?
Well, it was, you know, as far as like seeing the X and A code and the project and all that stuff, I was the only one who did that. But there's this guy named his gamer tag Shake and Bako. His real name's Nick, and he's actually been helping me out doing some things for a while. It's kind of funny. If y'all know about Avatar Golf?
Yes.
And the precursor to that was Easy Golf when XNA community games first went live back in November of like '08, I think.
Everybody go
that
ahead.
game.
We can take a drink. He's gotten all 4 of his game titles mentioned in the first 5 minutes of the show.
Nah, don't go buy Easy Golf. Do not buy it.
Do not buy Easy Golf. Buy the Avatar Golf. I haven't played Avatar Golf, just the home run.
Yeah, well, it's pretty good. It's still got the old little avatars before they did the update. And well, he bought that game, the Easy Golf, when it was like $10, and we all were like idiots and didn't know what we were doing when it first started, and made a bunch of courses. And it turns out he was pretty talented guy. So on Avatar Legends, he actually built the entire single player adventure as far as the game experience. He was, I guess you could say, he was the level designer. So I built out the level designer, and he would use that, and he'd create the single player adventure for the dialogue and all of the land, the terrain. And so he did all that. And then we had 2 other guys that were just friends that we made through the Avatar Golf that I got them to get some of the trial memberships through Dream Build Play, and I'd send them builds and they would test it. And one of them was actually a really talented writer, and he wrote some of the, whenever in the game you read a story, he wrote most all of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's really good. And then the other guy, Johnny Ups, he's a UPS driver, and but he made all the avatars in the avatar editor, and so I had a way to pull those from him and put them into the game. So that's basically how the game was made. And then everyone made a couple of multiplayer maps.
All right, cool. So let me ask you on the process there, because you built a level designer. What did you use to build the level design? Did you write it in XNA or did you use another language?
It's all in XNA. That's how it ends up being shipped with the game. So.
So you
okay.
actually use the in-game.
So was he doing that on a PC when he was building it, or did he actually build it from an Xbox as well?
He used a PC because you guys know that you can do some. It's a lot. XNA games are a lot faster on PC. So he's able to use the keyboard for entering text, to copy and paste in, and so yeah, he used the PC, but everything that he did was in the designer.
Okay. Wow. Mom has entered the chat.
Hello, Mom.
Oh, God.
You just realized that, didn't you? You just realized Granny Smurf. You figured out who Granny Smurf was.
So, out of curiosity, are Charlie or John in?
Yeah, Charlie and John are in.
Hey,
as well.
Mom.
Yeah.
Well, this won't go horribly wrong like it did last week.
Honey Badger don't give a shit.
There.
That's
Honey
one.
Badger does not give a shit.
That's one Honey Badger reference.
All right. Are we going to count them?
I think we should, just because you've been doing them all night.
All week.
All week. But
Okay, yeah. So, all right. So that's kind of cool there, that doing the level editor and designer in XNA allowed you to ship that with it. I don't think this was in there, but I'm going to go ahead and ask. Is there ability to share levels within the game?
Yeah, the designer's broken into 2 pieces. It's got a single-player designer where you can build your own story and things like that, and you can share that with other people. And then there's the multiplayer version, which is where when you play a multiplayer map, and if someone built it, when it's over, you can just download it on the spot right there.
Okay,
and
so
play whenever you want.
How has that gone around? Have you played a lot of community maps? Is that a couple fans gone in there and made some maps?
Oh yeah, so people have made some amazing single player adventures. I'm really impressed. But it's like the 595 rule, where 5% of the people really get into the creation and then the other 95% enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to build a map a lot of times. I go back every so and again. It won't let me build a map. It hates me.
Let me have a talk with it because that's just not nice.
And that is, of course, the type of bug report that all developers like.
You gotta understand, Cicely has problems with 3D camera controls, so
Okay.
all of them.
I couldn't tell what she like. It hates
3D
so.
camera controls. She has
I'm
issue
getting better, but I love the game. There was enough of my obsessive, compulsive collection in it just for me to get everything, and I did. There was a bug that I think I remember reporting. I don't remember when, about where if you walk too close to those robot statues that you collect, that you kind of walk through them you kind of walk through the world.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I knew that in the first version, if you got close to it and they were tiny statues, that the collision would freak out because that's a high poly deal, and I ended up fixing that. But I don't know about launching.
Oh,
to
it doesn't
world.
launch you across the world. It's just like, you know, where you get that black space in there where you can see through the world. I saw through the world, and the other side isn't pretty.
Basically, she got on the
That's
other
like
side of the polygon, and you know, since it's back face cold, you see through the world.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing quote, like on acid quote. I saw through the world.
Well,
and it's not.
That's what happens to you, like, you know, Minecraft, or we even use that with Fortress Craft. Like, you put a block on your head, and then you can see through the world. You know.
Well, you know, that's one of the million things that I hear about and go, wow, I don't even have a clue how that could happen. But,
yeah, it's not really a problem. You just need some way to say, no, that you can't touch that anymore. Go away.
Well, he probably fixed it when he was saying on that first version. Probably the same issue. You just never had a bug report described in such, you know, colorful tones. You know, I went over to your statues, and I saw.
I don't know
through
how
the
to handle
world.
it. I'm used to getting a picture emailed with the half-ass stack trace. Oh, are you allowed to cuss on the podcast? Or
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with the stack trace, that's somewhat useful, but you know, it'd be really nice if we were able to report, if they were able to give us a report on all the crashes and what causes it. Otherwise, it ends up being magic time trying to recreate.
It can be very tricky too, because I mean, some of these things really seem like just weird local issues that aren't on your console or anyone that you have, but people run into them. And I know there's been bugs in Xbox Live Indie Game itself where people get duplicated versions, or like they have like all of a sudden like a different game ID for your game, and now none of their save files open up. 'Cause I know Mad Ninja had to do quite a bit with that because people couldn't open up EasyMuse files, and it just happens to some and not to others. And without like,
you know what's crazy that you bring that up is Shake and Bako. He got the update, and when the update went out, and then all of a sudden he couldn't play single player adventures that he downloaded from other people, and this happened in the golf game as well. And we were at a loss, like what on earth is going on? Because it had been working, and he just told me the other day that he bought a new router, and it's fine. Like all of a sudden it started working again, and you know, I got try catches in all kinds of places, and I know about, you know, hey, you even have to put your own try catch on a thread, and somehow it still was doing a code 4, and it's like, wow, I don't even understand. And the other interesting thing is the first one that went out, I'd get reports of people playing for a while, hours, and then it would crash. And it turns out there's a memory leak when you save a PNG or save a JPEG. So every time someone saved in the game, I'd take a little, you know, I'd get a render target and take their picture of where they're at. So when you pull up your save again, you see your save, and then also you could take pictures of your maps when you created a world. So it was just leaking away, and it's like, oh my. Wow, how you know, it's amazing to even find it, but like, wow, you know, peer review is hell, and then we gotta find memory leaks. Like, okay, anyways,
not
thanks for
to know that like it was fixed by his issue was fixed by a router. That doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, I know, and I wonder if it's like, okay, maybe he was trying to pull the avatars, and maybe, on the async callback, maybe that's where it crashed or whatever. I have no idea. And that fixed it. And so many people, I don't get a lot of these emails because people are really understanding of indie games. As far as like, hey, it's hard for those guys. They're sitting in there, on their couch building a game. They can't find every bug. They don't have a team of coders. So people are really understanding, but they're like, hey, you can't code things right. Like, well, crap. What am I supposed to do about that? So thanks for, I'm laying on the GamerMarx couch and you guys are, letting me vent, and it's nice.
Always welcome. So
get some therapy. I like it.
Now, we were talking a little bit before the show, for current project, you've been checking into Unity 3D because of the uncertainty of XNA at the moment. Prompted you to kind of look around, and you said you've been playing with it for about a month now?
Playing with what?
Unity 3D.
Oh, yeah, I've been playing around with it.
So, are you still just experimenting, or do you actually have like, oh, I got a game I'm getting out on it, and that's the platform?
Well, I'm doing some testing for a game that I know Stegar would like, because he seems to be pretty excited about golf. I'm watching the chat here.
Yeah, he got all kinds of excited about golf.
So I was, I'm just testing around in there. Stegar, excuse me. I think he used to have it written Stegar somewhere.
Stegs be nice, because we played your game for review this week, so you could influence opinion. You don't want to accidentally, you know how many sales that a GameMarx blessing can drive. About
didn't he have his name listed as Stegar for the longest time?
So, so on Unity 3D, my initial impressions of this, because I just downloaded it, loaded it up, messed with the demo level, was, where the fuck's my code? Because it's more like placing objects in 3D Studio Max and then adding a script to it.
I hear you on that, and I had that problem too, because I wanted to be able to build meshes through code, load a file and build the mesh, but it's almost like, hey, drop your FBX in it and drag it and put it there, and that's the engine. Good job. And I was like, I can't do that. I don't have a mesh. I got to make it at runtime. So I had a really hard time trying to go from, okay, this is Unity really seems like it's made for artists and people who kind of like to code and know games, but they want to make a game. And I was like, so where's the guy who likes to code things go? And once I kind of got my hand around the scripting thing, and I'll admit to a certain degree, you do lose a little bit of flexibility, but if there's, if you like C# and you don't want to do C++ and you want to keep coding in C# and make a game to deploy to a lot more marketplaces, you're okay with saying, all right, there's some magic in there that the engine's determining the render order and things like that, and it may or may not be the most efficient thing, but you just defer and go, I don't care anymore. Awesome engine, be awesome, and I'll write a script to make a guy move, and everyone will be happy.
All right, so did you find a way, like if you were doing dynamic terrain generation, did you find a way, like, oh, there is a method I could do that in Unity, or is that, no, you need to preload assets?
No, you can make a mesh. You can in XNA terms, you can build a vertex buffer, you can build an index buffer, and assign that to a scene and say, hey, draw me. And you set up the UVs, you set up, whatever you need to set up. And I haven't experienced writing your own shaders yet, and that may be an interesting thing as far as what they allow you as far as pushing, what your vertex type that you're pushing to the shader. I haven't gone too deep in there, but as far as drawing a mesh that I made through loading a text file for the definition of the mesh and creating it and drawing it on the screen, yeah, I've done that, and it's actually maybe 10 lines of code. So
yeah, Cicely is playing games on an iPad. That's what she does. She didn't pay attention.
I am listening. I'm not understanding, but I'm listening.
They're not games that require a lot of concentration.
No, they're slave games. She's got field slaves and house slaves,
Occupy
and
Farmville,
kitchen slaves, and you got to tell them what to do.
Occupy Farmville.
Yeah,
we will not be held down by Zynga anymore.
Like these OCD games, she's taken to a whole nother level of OCD because she plays like 17 of them at once. I'm not exaggerating.
This is
I've
an
got
intervention.
Farmville on here, but I don't play it regularly anymore.
Well, she's also cheap, and so like if they force you too much, I don't think she goes back to them. But what was the one you pulled up? You had to like wait like 9 hours or something on.
That's all of them.
That's all of them.
Yes, I've got a zoo. I breed one thing with another.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the breeding, and it was like breeding these two animals, 17 hours, and I'm like, that's some damn ass Barry White making love right there. I mean, I'm not to brag or nothing, but I could put in a good 90 minutes, 2 hours maybe, but 17.
Well, maybe they just have. Maybe we should go the other way. It's just really fast gestation.
That's the pig and the elephant in South Park. Do you remember that episode?
I've not seen that, and I don't know if we need to explain that.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of engines, I was clicking around and I forget where this came by. Somebody mentioned this, and I think I mentioned it in an IRC chat. Nobody had really seen of it before. But Delta Engine, deltaengine.net, and I'll make sure to link this in show notes. This is a C#. It's not XNA, so you're not going to run XNA on there, but it's C#. You got your namespaces, your game loop, that kind of setup, and it appears to be going after every platform. Your iOS, your Android, Windows, web.
I think they're developing it as open source. Am I wrong about that?
No. Okay. So there is like the framework or something is open source. I don't know. When you go into, there's a licensing thing, and basic is free, and there's like an open source, and then there's private standard and company professional, which basically open up if you want to target iOS, Android. So even though it's kind of like, hey, it's the same as the rest of them.
No,
because you download this free version that gets you Windows, maybe the web. I don't know if their free version. I want to say they mentioned Mac too. Mac OS is not in the free version. Okay.
No. I do kind of wonder about that because I got the impression that this was still kind of in development. So I wonder how many of these are actually implemented.
Yeah,
like Unity is already
in development.
Or how many of them are kind of pie in the sky?
And I haven't heard anybody, like, I don't know to talk about that. Oh, apparently, okay, so Jim knows developer involved. Well, then,
awesome.
That'll be topic of next week's podcast.
I was going to say, we can stop talking.
Jim will be on. He will be our guest next week on the podcast. So we will discuss a little bit behind that. But, I mean, it looks promising. It looks interesting. And I mean, I definitely want to see XNA going forward. I like what that is. Because when they say, like, hey, you can deploy the Xbox, it's probably going to be, with a publisher contract, you can deploy the Xbox. It's not going to be indie games.
That's kind of the benefit. I mean, Unity advertises the same thing with, hey, you can deploy to PS3 and Xbox. That's, if you get a contract. I can't,
Let me put it this way. If I had the stuff lined up to deploy to PS3 and Xbox, I'm probably not like sweating the Unity licensing.
Yeah, I'm probably not sweating an engine at all.
No,
I'm probably
just past that point.
But yeah, like I want something that I could screw around with for a week, deploy to my Xbox if I really wanted to, and
it has a hot redhead showing cleavage in her midriff, so that's supported. That's what you need in the framework.
Yeah.
I mean, that check. Do we support redheads?
That actually,
check. Do we have cleavage? Check. Can we support bare midriff? Check.
That actually, like, when you put it like that, it gives me less hope in the framework. Like, how do we sell this? Well, we don't have documentation and we don't have screenshots. Bam!
Yeah, let's throw a sexy 3D Studio Max model on there because that sells our engine. It's like, well, anything could render that. It's a 3D Studio model, you know?
Well, yeah. Now, that is the rational approach. But...
I'm reading, what the hell am I reading? What was the name of that book? Do you remember the name of the book? Because I was tweeting some Kindle.
Oh, something Sky, a wider...
No, the game dev one.
Game dev.
I'm reading a book that was written, like, in 1982 on, like, the art of game design. Now, it's been updated for 2011, but all the author does is basically you read the 1982 version of the chapter, and then you read, like,
because I think I actually bought it off your Kindle tweet, but I haven't actually read it.
You read like a 2011 addendum to that chapter by the author, and he basically goes like, this chapter still stands, you know, like the things I said then are true now, and that was right. Or he goes like, yeah, that didn't happen at all, and I made this wild prediction and totally whiffed that one. But one thing I remember, and one of the things he was pointing out, a little saddened by, was like, I thought the demographic was going to broaden, and that's not happened.
Well,
it's a male-dominated.
Casual has broadened, but it's a different style of games.
Yeah. The casual has broadened, and you know, well, I mean, there's the statistics too, like the MMORPGs, I think have more female players than male players.
Yeah, that would make sense.
On that, but or no, I think I know what he said. It was the shooters. He thought shooters were going to be the gateway drug for everyone.
Well, I guess that would make sense because at the time he wrote it,
yeah,
that was
exactly. But
big.
what shooters became is people who like shooters play shooters, and they play the same shooter over and over again.
I mean, it's just like anything else. You know, something comes along and it's the big hot new thing. It's going to be the answer to all your problems, and then you're like, nope, just another tool in the toolbox.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It's in. I'll try to get a link in show notes because I read the Theory of Fun.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Right, and this was one of them that he cites quite often.
Okay.
And I found it was on Amazon for like $2.99 or something.
I couldn't remember the name of that book, and I thought this might have actually been the book you were talking about before.
I'll dig that up. If you hit my Twitter stream, VINULL, and you look at my last night, I finally figured out how to tweet from my Kindle. So I could like highlight a section and then tweet it. Because there was a passage in there where he's like, people play for like acceptance and camaraderie and to be part of the social, you know, and all of this stuff. And it's like, that's why we have pets, you know, because like the dog is happy when you come home and like acknowledges your existence and everything and all that.
It controls your life.
And I was like tweeting, I'm like, that doesn't explain cats at all. Cats are basically like, we don't...
Dogs are stupid, cats are evil. You have to pick which one you... Like, there's a continuum.
It's like, I guess you're a sadomasochist then, in his view, if like you go with the cats because you like the rejection.
Well, you're a sadomasochist either way. It's just how you prefer it.
You get an animal and you clean up behind it and feed it and take care of it so it can ignore you.
Yes.
You know?
Or it depends on you for everything and
my cat
never wants to...
comes in the bedroom at like 6 a.m. and just starts wailing, just row, row.
He's trying to wake the baby
He's intentionally like trying to wake the baby, and then he walks out. He's like, deal with that.
And then I go and make her chase him, and she says, "Kitty!"
And it's funny, like the cat that will roll over and let her play with her, she doesn't care about it at all. She doesn't care about that cat at all. She sees my cat that won't let her touch her, and that's the one she chases. Which Hannah said at one point, too, he runs because he loves me. Which is just all kinds of wrong.
Have fun with that.
Hey, speaking of the love of Microsoft for Xbox Live Indie Games, this thread...
I note irony in your voice there.
This thread, a little sarcasm there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This thread came up, and it basically, if you're overseas, you need like this IT IN number, okay, of some kind. It's some kind of international number.
Okay.
And it basically says, like, hey, I'm going to be taxed in my own country, so Microsoft, don't withhold the tax in the States, because I'm not in the States, and I'm not going to file with the IRS, because I'm in Finland, and I give away 58% of my income. I don't know. I hear they're all communists outside the U.S., That's just what I hear.
Don't trust them.
I don't have facts to back this up, but that's what I hear.
Not intended as a factual statement.
Yeah. So I guess Microsoft for Windows Phone 7 developers, like, they got rid of that because Apple doesn't make you do that. Google doesn't make you do that. Like,
crap.
They're worldwide companies, and basically it's like, oh yeah, we just won't pay you out of, like, Seattle, we'll pay you out of London, and then that way it's a local transaction, and we'll do that. And so, like, Apple does this with all their developers, Google does this with all their developers. Microsoft is the only one that has this mess that you have to go to. And again, I'm just, from the threads I've read, because we're in the States, obviously don't have that problem.
We've never had to deal with it.
So reading through the thread, it's like, Windows Phone 7 developers, you no longer have this, it's wonderful, we're doing this awesome thing. And then some XNA developers are kind of like, or Xbox Live Indie Game developers are like, hey, so how do we do this? Like, where do we go and do that? And it's like, oh, well, no, it's just for Windows Phone developers. And there's like a thread in the phone forums that they actually just come out and say it. Like, the Microsoft person comes out and say it, and they say, look, App Hub is a registration portal. We're the Windows Phone team, and we do our own thing, and that's the Xbox team, and they do their own thing.
They have to implement that, basically.
Yeah, they can choose to do what they want. We'll do what we want. And I was like, aren't you both fucking Microsoft? And aren't I paying the same App Hub membership for both platforms? Like, to have to register for tax purposes, one versus the other? Like, this is just total asinine. And I was thinking, what's going to happen with Windows 8 Marketplace? Since that's another division in Microsoft. That's the OS platform. That's the Windows team, right? That's not the mobile team, and that's not the X. Is there going to be yet a third set of, well, we have these countries and these policies, and you do it this way on this app marketplace, and then on the phone marketplace you do it this way, and on the Xbox marketplace you do it this way.
And they still don't care.
I may be a little bit cynical here, but I think it's a case of, do we do enough business through this particular, or do we want to do enough business through this particular outlet to spend the time to figure out how to make this work?
No, they shouldn't be separate things.
They shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, I have to implement this for Xbox Live Indie Game payments. This is paying the developer.
No, I understand that.
And then they register on the same site. They pay the same fee. They use the same live account. It's all the same for the developer side. And yet we have two different accounting departments.
I understand that it shouldn't be. I'm just saying it is. And because there are two different accounting systems, I bet you will see this in Windows 8 Marketplace. In fact, if they did it in Windows Phone 7 to match iOS and Android, the way that's done, then you will definitely see it because, they want the tablet to succeed. But yeah, it is a bad sign that Xbox Live Indie Games isn't, apparently, we assume.
Yeah, well, this wasn't so much of an Xbox Live isn't supported, which it's not. I'm not saying that it is. It's more that, like, that's this other team's job to take care of you guys.
Oh, okay.
And then what was funny is at one point, too, like in the middle of the thread, why don't you go use their support channels to let them know there's an issue, which spawned like a whole bunch of like, they don't answer the emails, we have no community manager, and then they link to a forum of like, here's the forum you should post in, and they link to the FAQ forum, which you can't post in the FAQ forum. It's the FAQ forum. It's locked. It's a moderator forum too, which was just awesome, hilarity ensued from that point. And I mean, I don't even have to jump in and post anything. I just, I try not to anymore these days anyway, but I do subscribe to it. I'm like,
it doesn't matter. Like, you can flame them for this, but if they don't care enough,
anything, they don't care. If they cared, it's not like they don't know.
I understand why it's frustrating that it isn't one, single system, but at the same time, Xbox Live Indie Games, it's not like Microsoft when they came out with XNA said, okay, here's the roadmap, we're going to hit phone, we're going to hit Xbox, it kind of grew, and it grew in a very ugly way. I'm willing to accept that, but the fact that one is supported so much more than the other just kind of emphasizes
Red-headed stepchild.
Yes.
Yes. But like I said, I wasn't so much redheaded stepchild in this case. It's like, this is going to be the same with the marketplace. They're fucking up all over the place.
The same with the Windows 8 Marketplace?
Well, no, that's what I mean. So with Windows 8 Marketplace, again, different department, different division within Microsoft. And if each division is responsible for how they run their own marketplace...
Then it's going to work differently.
It's going to work differently, and it's going to be stupid, because people are going to
I don't think it's going to be...
I don't have to do this for the phone. Why do I have to do this for Windows?
Microsoft wants to get in on the tablet game, but they're not going to screw this up. Like, they're going to put in the resources.
Yeah, no, I think...
I'm not saying there won't be...
They're screwing it up.
Rough edges.
It's going to be screwed up.
Okay, yeah, the overall strategy, yes, is screwed up, but I think, it's not going to be like Xbox Live
Given what this
games.
revealed, they're going to have an entirely separate payment process and system. It may go through the same App Hub portal.
Right.
But on the back end, it will be different billing rules, and... Some people will have to file the ITIN, and some people won't, because you're doing a Windows app versus a phone app. Now, the Windows and the tablet will be the same, because they're coming out of the same department. But, yeah, it's going to be like, depending upon the platform you chose, you have different rules, and it may even get to the point where you have different countries in which you could deploy in. Because the phone, now, if you deploy to, I forget what countries they were, but there's a couple countries on the phone that you have to have a certification now for your game. There is a streamlined process, so it's not the ESRB. It's a different ratings agency. You go to this other rating agency and you're like, hey, I'm an indie developer doing a mobile app. And they go, okay, fill out this form. You fill out the form, and then that form tells you what your rating should be. You answer the form, and it's like how much violence, how much whatever is in your game. And then they give you your rating, and basically you're on the hook if like users start reporting that that's not your actual rating. If they work on a report abuse type method, so it doesn't cost. Microsoft fronts the cost of all that, so they're not making them pay for that cost. It's just interesting that Xbox Live indie games get told we have to go into this special bucket of you have to be able to run the hardest core porn games on the console to be able to play an indie game because it's unrated and dirty. Where it's like, well, there's this free rating system that's apparently working on the phone for these countries that are requiring it. Why can't we do that? We already classify anyway.
That may be an issue with ESRB as well. I mean, they may actually have to have...
I've heard, and I've read in articles, I don't have it queued up this week, I have read that the ESRB is working on, like, being able to rate mobile apps, and things like that, and streamlining their process as well, and they'll probably have something similar, and it'll probably be a small fee, and then an abuse method, but they definitely want to be on the platform. They're missing, revenue chance on there, and if they can get the platform holder, if they can say, like, hey, Apple, it's $50 for a game developer to get their game rated. And anybody who's not willing to pay $50 isn't serious, so it's a good barrier to entry on top of your fees.
But it's not like the current process, which from what I've heard, you actually have to present them, and they have to review it.
They play the game, and they look at video of the game, and it wouldn't, it can't be that. But I heard that they're working.
Do you guys want to hear something interesting?
Always.
All right. So y'all been with the peer review for a while, and you know how much pressure there has been to not let anything, IP conflicts, we can't possibly let anything go through, or else, it's the end of the world, and Microsoft's going to be on CNN and blah 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 blah. I want you to go into Google and type Windows space phone space punch out. And tell me what you find in the very first.
Oh, you are kidding me.
Oh, God.
This is, of course, done by Nintendo, right? They, did a rare...
Yeah, it's not like they have a handheld platform that they're wanting to support, $40 games on. They totally sold a 99-cent game.
Oh, man, this even looks...
Oh, God, it's a
this
port.
Is the cover art from,
that is it.
The Wii version.
There's Glass Joe.
And look at the release date.
Where do I see the date on this stupid thing? 9/14.
And the publisher. You can see who it's published by. Nintendo's new secret company name, Jesse Dudley.
Oh, wow. Well, oh, wow. Jesse Dudley's got Zelda, Metroid, Punch-Out.
Jesse Dudley has an emulator, is what Jesse Dudley has.
Jesse Dudley doesn't give a shit. Jesse Dudley will clone your game and publish that shit. He don't care.
Tetris. He has Tetris.
Well, he probably backed off of that because Tetris, they do sue the shit out of you. No time flat. It's the same. It's an emulator.
Tetris is Tetris, but I suppose.
I mean, I'm looking at the screenshots. It's straight up an emulator. This is reviewed by Microsoft. Like, somebody at Microsoft looked at this.
Well, how do they do those reviews? Because I got the
apparently poorly.
I was going to say I got the impression that part of the review was automated. And I may be wrong about
all
that.
Of the review is automated.
Surely. Well, I guess I kind of wonder if the legal terms are different. Like, if on the phone they have a better shot at saying no, they're on the hook than they do on Xbox Live Indie
But
games.
still, this comes in front of an actual person who works at Microsoft who reviews apples.
I know.
And
look at this.
This is an emulator, and he's just putting ROMs and then kicking them out.
Look, he is going to be sued. This is Tetris with a D.
And you know what? I mean, at that point, it's wow. And of course, it's like all over. Like the rest of the links that are coming back are news articles covering it.
Like, what the hell is this?
Oh, so I was going to mention that Sony got hacked again, like another 93,000 accounts or something on the PSN.
Yes.
But I was going to follow that up with apparently Xbox Live accounts are getting hacked. So I thought initially, so it has something to do with FIFA, right? Your account gets hacked, and you buy the hacker buys a bunch of points and then buys FIFA and then buys DLC for FIFA, which is weird. You know, like what the hell's going on there? Initially in the R's comments was like, maybe because it's an EA game and EA links your accounts.
Yeah.
Like there's the exploit on EA side that once they get your account linked, then they can go in there and do more damage from the EA side, than they could from the Microsoft side.
Possibly.
But somebody offered another alternative which sounds much more reasonable. There's a trading game in FIFA, like a trading card type game or something.
Right.
And you can use points to just up and up buy the cards.
This is like someone's WoW account getting hacked because, well, I mean...
Because they have a certain pet.
A little... not... Obviously, you can't do as much financial damage to WoW, but the idea is to steal items and...
Yeah, so it sounds like... I think the more plausible thing here is that they go on your account and they make you buy all these tradable cards and then give them to their account or something.
Right.
Now here's the thing. There's a bunch of people on ours. There's a huge NeoGAF forum. A lot of people reporting this. It's always FIFA. It's getting hacked. And it's obviously some kind of Windows Live exploit. And Microsoft is putting their head in the sand. I mean, they even came back with an R's comment of like, well, you know, some people have not followed good security procedures, but it's like, it's the same pattern over and over again that all these people have. Yeah. And here's what Microsoft does. If you call up and you go like, hey, I just got an email, I bought 20 points, and I did not buy 2,000 points for you because I don't buy points through Xbox.com because fuck y'all.
Right.
You know, I go on the internet and get my points for less. Microsoft locks your account for 25 days. So for 25 days, there's no live for you, no gold for you. You're frozen while they, quote-unquote, investigate. Right. But because it's a live account, it's a Microsoft Windows Live ID, you are locked from everything. An MVP posted in there that he is locked from his MSDN subscription. Your account is locked out. Your Hotmail, locked out.
That kind of scares me because I use my live account, the same live account that I use for Xbox, I use for IM for work.
It's our Windows Azure account.
Ooh.
Yeah, that means be like, oh, Mike's Xbox got hacked, so the websites are down.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to, you know, Sony shut down PSN and Microsoft, instead of shutting down Xbox Live, they're merely shutting down the accounts that are affected, but their accounts affect more things. In both cases, it's a huge...
And what's nice is when they shut your account down, they can continue buying stuff on your card. Because one guy was like, he called Microsoft, they locked the account, he tries to go in, and then he calls back, he's like, I can't get the Hotmail. And it's like, yeah, your live account, dude, locked, gone. And then, through like a Gmail or something that he had set up, or maybe he tried to log into his MSDN account or something.
Yeah.
Through his email account, that was still working, he gets this email that basically says, hey, you just bought 2,000 more points. And he's like, we just locked this out. And he calls him back and like, oh yeah, until they log out, we really can't stop them from doing anything.
So if they leave the Xbox on...
What the fuck do you mean you can't stop them from doing anything? Delete my credit card. It's like, no, we need that for the investigation. And of course, at which point you just hang up the phone, you call your credit card company and be like, hey, it comes from Microsoft, fraudulent charge that they're not fixing, so deny that all and give them chargebacks.
It's almost one of those things where you just hope that enough people get screwed that they just go a class action lawsuit so they stop it.
Yeah, so watch your account. If you see any FIFA-related achievements or purchases or anything pop in and you don't even say like soccer, that's a good tip that your account may be hacked.
And you need to go cancel your credit card.
And,
Right
you know,
now.
I hope they are doing this through some kind of weak passwords or something, and it's not an exploit. But, I mean, and I've said this before, like what a vulnerability single sign-on is. Because, you know, you get my live account, you have access to a ton of shit. Some of shit is NDA. I still have NDAs with Microsoft. I still am on Connect, where I have software that's not even released yet access to. Because I'm still an ASP insider, and, you know, we still get some of the, you know, those drops and things to check out.
Yeah.
And, like, you get all of that. You get it all. And what's worse about it is, like, all you gotta find is, like, one site that didn't implement the sign-on API properly or something like that. You know, and it's like, oh, that site's exploitable to a dictionary attack. You know, like, you can't exploit Xbox.com because they got their shit locked down. But this little side Windows Lab project that used live logins, yeah, nobody's checking that, and you can totally backdoor it.
And what's funny is I've heard people, like, after the PSN hacks, like, you know, it kind of became like a token in the fanboy war.
Yeah.
And you can't do that because everything has that potential. And I don't think, I mean, maybe Sony did some dumb things, but I don't think
Sony's
anyone
dumb
is
thing
immune.
was just pissing off the wrong people.
Well, and the whole unpatched Apache or whatever issue, I'm sure, you know, people who are investigating can point to a particular vulnerability, but no one is immune.
So yeah, so just, you know, keep an eye out, you know, on your account, and, you know, unfortunately, like, if something happens, you gotta report it. And it just sucks because you'd lose your Creators Club account for 25 days, and it's not like creators can really easily you start using a new live ID. Like, all that shit's tied to...
It almost makes me want to...
Especially if you've gone through the hell of filing an ITIN and got all that shit done and set up.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if I could switch either my Xbox or my... Well, I know I could switch my MSDN, I think, and my... my work MSDN and my IM to another account just to keep those separate, because that is scary. That would... I mean, and I could work around it. But
you do that, and then you run into pains in the ass because the systems don't really handle multiple logins well. So, like, you've logged in on, you know, Xbox, you go to MSDN, it's like, oh, you're logged in. It's like, no, gotta log out. Oh, that kicked me out of the Xbox page.
It's like Google Apps for domains.
Yeah. Yes. It is exactly like that.
Chrome incognito mode. Go.
I did bring up a bunch of news items because you guys, like, covered, like, none. So I had, like, all these queued up.
Yeah.
I'm skipping through, but, you know, with the Steve Jobs passing, and there were some people like, oh, he was horrible for games and all of that, and Valve's Newell, I don't know if it's
Gabe
CEO
Newell.
or
he's
CEO or some big
pretty
shot
high
at
up.
Valve.
I don't know you.
Was basically like, oh, this closed platform thing is obviously evil and all of that, and I'm just gonna say what I've been saying a while is that's not true anymore. You can't say that Apple has this closed platform. I mean, I can go write games for the Apple platforms with Unreal, with Unity, with Objective-C.
I would say that there are different types of open and closed, in the sense that there is no platform that is totally open, there's no platform that is totally closed, but they each have...
Well, and not only can I use these several, I got several platform options. Game Salad's another one. A Delta Engine, maybe if it ships. Developers are making money. Like, love them or hate them, right? Like, indie developers can make a shit ton of money on iOS platforms in a way that wasn't happening on the PC. Like, you got this nice device, you can code for this one device, and you can get out to a large number of consumers. Now, I know from we're definitely in this camp too, and there's a lot of people listening to the show. I don't give a shit about iOS. Like, I want to write console games, I want to write PC games. I don't want to write console. Even the idea of Mac games isn't, appealing.
The funny thing with Windows, I could write Windows games and I could plug in a controller and it could, for all practical purposes, be the Xbox, but having it on a console is just
exactly
like
but then you flip over and you look at Microsoft Xbox, like that is your closed system now. I mean, we can get to it through indie games, but you're only allowed to use XNA. You're not allowed to use any third party. When I was at Game Fest, I met the guys on Unreal, and they were quite pissed that they couldn't give you an Unreal development kit for indie games. They're like, we have it. We're ready to go. They had the Unreal development kit. They showed it to me running on a Zune HD. They're like, Microsoft won't let us ship it. We have it here. And
wow.
It's funny because these guys are like, this platform is dead. And I'm like, talking about, I just bought this thing. It's awesome. It's new. Check this shit out. You seen Zune Pass, man? Check this out. And they're like, no, this is dead. It ain't going anywhere.
The service is not dead.
Well, no, it's not. Hardware. They retracted that. That was a mistake. The post on Zune.net or whatever, like, we're no longer going to make Zunes, the hardware.
Yeah.
They posted like, oh, that wasn't supposed to go up. It's not dead. We're still supporting the hardware and all that. I'm like, dude, it's been dead for years. Where the fuck have you been? Just admit it.
It's a zombie now.
This is necrophilia at this point.
It's an MP3 player. Like, you're not, if you buy a Zune, you don't expect it to do anything.
Well, and then they dropped the Zune Pass to $10, and they took away the Keep 10 songs. Yeah. So now it is just as expensive as RDO and Spotify, except it only works on Zunes, whereas the rest work on everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my point. Like, even Spotify and RDO, they don't work on Zune players, but they work on everything else. So I'm like, you gotta step back and you gotta really kind of evaluate. Like, no, the closed platform, Microsoft is more closed now than Apple is. And they're continuing down this path, especially with like the WinRT stuff and like, do it this way and all that. It's like, you guys you're walling off a garden, but everything in that garden is dead. Like, if you're going to be in a walled garden, it's supposed to be, magical and wonderful, and there's a fountain of youth and everything. And you're like, yeah, I know I'm trapped in this walled garden, but it's wonderful and I love it. It's like, no, this is like the zombie walled garden or something, It's like, I don't want to be trapped in. The barbed wire, instead of like keeping people out, is keeping people in,
I think it's kind of a different, there's a different way of looking at it. Like, the stuff for WinRT, you can go on, you can grab that. You're going to have Windows 8, but it's pretty much open. It's not like, I don't know how this will change when the tablets hit, but I imagine it's not going to be like, I imagine it'll be more like Android than it will be iOS, where you have to have the developer account to even deploy it to a development device. I don't know. Like I said, there are different types of open and closed. And I think it kind of, a lot of people who complain about that, it depends on where...
No. There's different types of open and closed for a developer, open source nerd. Who doesn't give a shit about reality. And it's like, if you have something that's open source and can make no money with it, right? You can't make a living, then who cares that it's open? It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's a philosophical
that is allowed to run on like one device that nobody has. It's pretty damn closed. It's a pretty damn closed market. Like, it only runs here. So, I mean, it's cool to have things open source, but that is so far, as time has proven, that really is not a factor.
Well, and two, I'm not 100% certain that this is the case, but it seems like, open source kind of hit its peak, early 2000s, hit a peak, and then things started becoming more closed as we got into platforms. I wonder if...
Well, no. Open source hit its peak with the LAMP servers.
Right.
Linux Apache Mine. Because it was more open and ran on fucking anything.
Exactly.
You got some hardware, you got a server.
Exactly. But my point is, I wonder if the people who are kind of think that openness is the end-all be-all, I think the value of openness, open versus closed systems changes depending on how technology changes. Something else, right now hardware is the big thing, so closed matters. Closed is okay, but if something changes...
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the iPhone is not a closed system. When I can choose all these different development frameworks to use on it, and I can pay my fee and go put my app on it and sell it in the store alongside everybody else.
You still have to have a Mac.
What's closed?
You still have to run it through...
You don't have to have a Mac anymore. You could go up to PhoneGap and use their cross-compiler service if you want, and they've got a free version of that.
But that's assuming you're writing an HTML5 app.
That's a red herring. That's a straw man argument. I have to have something to write code on for any platform.
Well, yeah, but and you have to run it through the marketplace to actually deploy it. You can't deploy it yourself. You can't distribute it yourself. It's like I said, there are different types of open and closed.
Yeah, you do it yourself. It doesn't matter.
It's a philosophical argument.
Open, like you're grasping at straws to close it off now.
Well, exactly. Like
you're like saying, "Oh, I have to buy a Mac. Oh, I can't sideload."
No, it's a philosophical argument, and if you don't start out with the certain presuppositions, you don't get it. So I think it's useless to argue about because, people who gripe that Apple isn't open have a different set of presuppositions than you do. And, you can define...
Well, that's what I mean. They're wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. What is the argument?
It's like they're grasping at straws to say like Apple isn't open, but if I can use...
They are right under a different definition of open.
What is that definition?
The ability to distribute apps yourself without going through the App Store, and the ability, at least in the case of Android, to develop on pretty much any platform. And again...
But in that respect, Windows is closed. But Windows is more closed than Apple. Way more closed than Apple.
Yes,
you're limited to tools that you can use.
Well,
all of these cross-platform frameworks that we've been talking about.
Yes,
I don't know how many of them have Windows Phone 7 stuff up and going, but it's pretty much like, well, you're using Silverlight or XNA, and once you do that, you're trapped in the Microsoft ecosystem.
Exactly.
You use XNA as your game, right? You can't go just run it on iOS. You can't
no,
just go run it on Android.
And I'm not. And
it's
XNA,
a closed platform.
XNA is a closed platform, and I'm not going to disagree there.
So what they're saying is that on iOS or let's say iPad and iPhone, you're not allowed to be your own personal vendor.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not allowed to buy directly from you. I think that's a fair statement, but I think Gabe is nuts because you have to be approved by him to even.
Oh yeah. I didn't even bring that
get
point
on
up
Steam.
Yet, but
I know he says something about you can get our tools for free. But that's not the magic. Your tools aren't the magic. It's being on the front of Steam Power that's the magic, and I'd say that's probably extremely closed.
The only nod I'll give to Gabe on his Steam platform, although I wouldn't call it open.
Not by a long shot, no.
But I would give a nod toward openness on it, is that he doesn't require you to have a publisher. Whereas if you come to XBLA, you have to have a publisher. They're not going to just take you as a game developer and allow you to put your game on the service. You have to go find a publisher. It could be Microsoft Game Studios, but basically they're supporting the old method of game distribution where, there's publishers who then get your game out there. And like Shuggy Cat was a great example of like, the publisher didn't do shit for Shuggy Cat. It didn't promote it, didn't advertise it, they didn't have anything done. What value did he get out of that? In fact, he was actually hurt because the publisher was like, no, we're handling marketing. Don't release anything until we get our marketing out there. So he held off promoting his own game, and then they didn't promote it at all.
Yeah.
And, he missed this huge opportunity. the publisher's not adding anything in value. In the days where you had to get a game on a shelf in a retail store, the publishers had distribution channels. They lined up the partnerships and they could put it in boxes and get it on store shelves, and you needed that. We don't need that anymore. And one of the things I really don't like about Microsoft is they're finding artificial ways to keep that system alive.
Yeah.
That it just needs to die.
Well, Xbox Live Indie Games especially keeps that system alive because the console runs on that.
Well,
system.
I mean, Xbox Live, I guess, keeps it alive in the way that they're gimped from being able to have the features of a publisher title.
Right.
And then, if you want those features, you better get married to a publisher.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a different ecosystem, and it's
so. And then, whereas on Steam, this is where I'll give a nod to Steam. You don't have to have that. That said, he rejected Radiant Games. You know, like it's like, oh, you're not good for our service. It's like those are damn good games. Those are nice, polished games, and you just, you know, fine, it's your service. Don't call it open.
Yeah, and again, Radiant Games could publish on Xbox Live Indie Games because it was open in a certain way. But the interesting thing about Valve, though, I mean, didn't they were an Xbox-only developer as far as consoles go, and then there was that big announcement with, because I want to say they had, like, Xbox was like the preferred development.
I don't know. I've always thought of Valve as a PC developer shop.
Well, I mean, outside of
their
as far
Xbox
as
ports are pretty crappy.
That's what I mean. Like they're not. I mean,
they developed for PC. They ported to Xbox,
right?
And they might have gotten a bone. Microsoft may have been like, "Hey, we want you on our platform. Here's a bunch of money. Please port it." And
that's what I mean. Like outside of PC, like
was there no orange box for PlayStation?
There was. No,
it was much later.
Yeah, but there. I can't remember what announcement it was, but there was a huge announcement that Valve brought something to PS3.
Oh, no, PS3. I think you can co-op play Portal 2 with PC players.
Yeah, like, and suddenly, like, PS3 was their favorite gaming platform, so I'm thinking...
Plus, they could give free updates.
Yeah, so I'm thinking what you may see is a turnaround on that statement when it becomes a viable platform for them.
Well, what happened there is on Orange Box. I think that Valve developed the Microsoft Xbox version internally because, you know, there's a lot of similarity between the PC and Xbox, and EA was in charge of the PS3 version, and it was crap, really buggy and things like that. And so, came out and said, you know, PS3, this and that, not feeling it, and then at E3 a little bit later, he came out and everyone's like, "What the hell is Gabe doing on stage?" And then he announced that, you know, we're having Steam powered on PS3, and you know, he had that
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I like money look on his face, so I'm friends with these guys now, even though I called them names. And so that was the big thing as far as like what he did. Was they were bringing Steam to PS3, and I guess everyone thought, hey, I can play my Steam games on PS3 now, but I don't really know what's came of it.
Speaking of Luke, if you go to Radiant Games blog, it's worth hitting. He's been doing a lot of posts as Super Crossfire has been coming out for iOS, and he has a good post on the history of Radiant Games, which is basically his history. But I didn't know he worked on Descent.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, that's an awesome game that I love. So I'm gonna keep pestering him and get him on the damn show. We worked on Descent, man. That's fucking cool. This one's just more to call out because I think we will probably talk a little about this with Jim on the show next week. But I think Jim was a Dark Age of Camelot player, and Broken Toys, which is Scott Jennings, I think is his name. Scott Jennings has basically a rundown of being there at the launch of Dark Age of Camelot and like how they got that all doing that, and so there's a good if you're a Dark Age of Camelot person, Broken Toys as a good write up on that. Rumors that Microsoft is launching a streaming service for games like OnLive. I don't know. I think there's the people still grasping at straws on games for Windows Live became Xbox.com. And, you know, the whole, like, Windows is, you know, Xbox is going to run on Windows 8. And it's like, no. And I haven't played the On Live thing. I don't know how that actually behaves, but that just seems like streaming a game screen is not...
What I've heard is that it's fine, but there's not very many people using it right now, so it might be fine for now. But if
they'll have to scale up.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a major information hog if it actually catches on.
If we're talking Sudoku, yeah, I can see that. We're talking Halo? No, I can't see
I don't see Halo working. They have like Mass Effect and a couple of other big names working on it, but those aren't against other people with hair triggered 16-year-old reflexes.
Yeah, I just don't see it being in Microsoft or Sony's best interest to have a game streaming service. They offer the downloads, they offer the disc titles. I don't really see what they can offer.
Like, a streaming service just sounds to me like you are making yourself even more obsolete.
Why would they do that? I mean, they are really gung-ho on getting Xbox consoles installed everywhere.
We want to be into your living room.
Yeah, why would they have this streaming service that kind of competes with, you know, and...
Or is redundant if it's an Xbox service.
Yeah, I mean,
Microsoft
at best
is
it's
doing it because it's in Hydra and it can't manage two heads at once. PlayStation is doing it just because the cool kids are.
Well, yeah, like I kind of wonder if the major game companies do it, if it will be because, hey, this is the big thing now. When it's probably the big thing because it's a lower barrier to entry than coming out with your own console or
because nobody wants to be Sega anymore
or something like yeah.
Guess what? When I was bringing up the list for games of the week, guess what was the the best-selling game today?
Oh god,
$1 zombie game.
The $1 zombie game. Yeah. All right. Now it's time for our new releases of the week. New releases run from Friday the 17th through Thursday the 13th. Matt, the rules are here. If you want to comment, you can comment. If you want to take the high road and just like, you know, I need these guys to peer review me, so I'm just going to be quiet. You can do that as well. Our first game this week, World Railway and Garden Plants.
Garbage!
What the fuck was this? This was like... it was like a screensaver that didn't even do the screen saving. Like, I had to push the button to make it advance. It did quizzes and then just told you the answer.
I mean, like...
How'd you
quiz
get into
question!
it?
Answer. Quiz question! No, you just keep pressing the button long enough and it goes into a quiz.
And then it just starts quizzing you and like, you know, what's the longest railway in northern Germany? That blah, blah, blah. And you just like, I don't know, here's a bunch of choices. I can't select them. I hit the A button. It's like, oh, the answer is B. And then, like, next question, the answer is C. And like, oh, man, yeah.
And we got all the way through that.
Okay,
it was 8 minutes. That one should not have even passed because we got through that in 4 minutes.
You think we experienced the entire game?
It didn't say there was anything more.
Seems like a very, 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 very specific interest.
No, it's crap.
I don't know.
We did not video this, Steggs.
No.
We did not video this.
Why would we do that?
No one should speak of it again. Our next game up is...
This isn't even funny bad.
Flight Adventure 2. And I don't have our database all set up. I don't remember a Flight Adventure on the service where that came from. But this is a flight simulator. And it is totally... flight simulation. Like you got a plane, control your flaps, you know, yaw, pitch, roll, get it up in the air and fly around, I guess.
It feels a little touchy, and if you would rather have an arcade flight experience, you are not going to like it.
That at all. Yeah.
But it is a really polished flight sim.
Here it is.
What?
Flight Adventure 729.
What is that? Flight Adventure 729?
729, 2010. Last year. It came out.
That was probably before we were doing
We probably didn't glance at it more than a half a second.
So.
Oh, okay. Well then. Yeah, but I mean, it's a straight flight simulator. So, you know, if you're into flight sim, you might want to check it out. I don't know. Though if you're into flight sim, like, it might not be hardcore enough to bring you over. But it had like a little race mode in there, and there was a multiplayer. We couldn't do that with trial. We did do video, so you can check video of this out and see what that was. Our next one that we did and we did video of is Blocky, and this is a keep away with variants.
Primarily, it's a keep away turns Pac-Man kind of deal. Without the walls, no wall. Well, 4 walls.
Had a lot of game variants, you know, some where you had to kill enemies, some where you had to grab power-ups, some where you had to get a certain score. At least in the trial, the difficulty curve moved very slowly, it seemed like, and oh, did we lose?
Yeah, we lost Matt for a second. Let's see. And I think we've I shouldn't have hit back on the damn page.
Nope.
Did we lose internet? Oh.
We got Comcasted.
Oh, okay.
We got Comcasted up the wazoo.
Comcasted.
I don't know if the live stream dropped. So he's coming back, and Matt is back.
All right.
I think we just got Comcasted. Like the web page stopped loading, and it looked like the live stream is still there. But anybody still seeing us there? Anybody in chat want to confirm that we're still around?
I'm getting radio silence.
Yeah, we're getting radio silence. Live stream up.
French didn't help.
And
I'm not seeing your typing.
Looked like it went out. It may just be the chat.
There we go.
Did you see my chat?
Refresh time. No, I don't see your chat. Okay, back by Smileroo.
Okay. All right. We're pressing on. Yeah. So, Blocky
felt more like it. The difficulty curve, at least in the trial, seemed like it kind of drug on for me. I kind of got bored with it. Although I like what they're doing with the variations. To me, it's just one of those games that's so simple. It seems like it should be a phone game, or would be more at home in that environment.
We did video of that one, so you can check that out next week. The next one, Escape the Car. Now, we did not do video on this one, but not because we didn't think it was deserving, because we probably would have given away way too much of the game. It looks like this might be the start of some micro-adventure series. At least it's kind of what it's set up to be.
They implied there would be more.
They implied there'd be more, and you're in a car, and the thing is to get out of the car as quickly as possible. And, it's just straight up an old school adventure of, oh, look under the car mat, there's a key. I got the key, or a box cutter under the floor mat. Now what? Oh, I can cut this now and get to this next point. And even had a keypad at one point, which kind of reminded me of Maniac Mansion. I don't know if you ever played Maniac Mansion.
I never played that, but I've played other games where
Maniac Mansion upstairs had a keypad to get into one of the door, and if you got it wrong, it was wired to a nuclear bomb. So
was that the copy? That was copy protection.
But that was a copy protection. Like the copy protection, if you had that sheet, you could look up the code. There was code wasn't in the game. It was a copy protection. But it kind of reminded me of that. So it's interesting. It kind of had me curious. I don't know. I may go back and just buy it and just see where it goes. If I truly was like at the end, because I got to a point where it's like, oh, if you go the next step further, you got to buy the game. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't be that far from being out of the car my next step further, unless like there's Narnia in the trunk or something, like I'm not expecting.
Take the blue pill.
Yeah, so
it seemed really inventive, and in the sense of it being a throwback to adventure games, though, I actually felt like this made sense. It wasn't like in King's Quest where you'd be like, okay, use this item. Well, okay, that didn't work. Let's try using this, in these weird combinations. Like, it actually made sense. You had to kind of use some problem solving, except how you got the key code.
Well,
that
was straight problem solving that you'd learn in grade school.
That was the first place I went to get the key code.
It was problem solving, but it wasn't like if you were really trying to escape from a car.
That's your problem. You were going with reality. No, by adventure game logic. That was
by adventure game logic. I'm saying I like the fact that it was very grounded in reality. That
you can't take your foot to the window because the windows are heavily reinforced. They actually have like chicken wire through the window.
Yep.
I have no idea what kind of car this was, but
bulletproof glass.
And the car doesn't have power, but the headlights are on.
I know. I saw that. I was like, why am I not getting power? I should be able to get in the trunk now.
Yeah. So we didn't do video of that because it would spoil, I think, almost the entire game.
Yeah.
But the door's locked. You can't open that. Come on. Put some effort.
It said the door handle is not working.
Our next one is Ninja War Stolen Scrolls. And as far as I'm aware, they have not been sued by Bethesda yet.
Right.
But they are using the word scroll.
And it is not Ninja Scroll or Ninja Scroll Resurrection, which I've heard is terrible.
We did video of this. This is a Castle Crashers, or if you're older, it's a River City Ransom. Beat 'em up, Double Dragon. What else? What else can we throw out there?
I don't know.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Arcade.
Yes. I spent a lot of money with that one. Yeah. Simpsons the game.
Yep, the old school Simpsons the game in the arcade.
You were about to say one?
Did you have a...
I heard a crowd noise.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so we did video of this. It looks great. The graphics look excellent. It was very well polished. It did not present a challenge. That was my main complaint with it. Even in single player, I just was breezing through the levels. Now, maybe it has a difficulty that will ramp up, but like there's a combo system.
It feels like if
I didn't need it at all.
I didn't even notice the combo system.
Well, it tells you that one combo.
Oh, no, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant like it was tracking a combo. No, there was one combo move, and you really didn't even need it. And I enjoyed it because it was a classic beat 'em up. I didn't even, like, the low difficulty didn't really even register to me just because it was fun. Again, probably not going to be fun one player if you've got a bunch of, if you've got 4 people to play with.
Now, let's be honest. When we got a bunch of people to play Insane Bash, that became fun. So,
it's more of a...
Saying when a bunch of people get together, to play a game...
It's more like if a bunch of...
people drinking alcohol...
If a bunch of people who don't like each other get together to play this and still find it fun, then it's fun.
So, Charlie's in there. It definitely could use some more moves, more variety.
Definitely.
It may have these things... but not revealed to you in it may be a bad trial experience.
There was some variety, like you've got special attacks. You can pick up swords. I actually kind of like the simplicity because it means I don't feel like I'm missing.
If it ramped up, this would have been a good case for in your trial mode. To like, here's level 1. Okay, now I'm fast forwarding you to like level 5, part 3, and you have all these power ups and weapons just to give you a taste of like the insanity to come.
And there's a level up system.
There's a level up system, but it's passive. It's not. You don't get to assign stat points or.
I think what that's going to end up doing is if you're playing multiplayer, the people who don't
also
work, don't fight as much, get screwed.
Also, water ninjas can't jump.
Yes.
The water ninja is fatter than everybody else. The earth ninja has stolen the scrolls.
Drinks so much.
And the red ninja and the water ninja have about the same powers, only they're opposite. But the red ninja can jump.
But it doesn't matter because all you do is punch. No
Xbox Live Indie Game or Naruto filler? You decide.
Power Rangers, go!
Our next game up this week, Pixel Animator 3D.
It's more of an app.
This is a Stegosaurus game, and he did not put the dinosaur logo in there. It's almost like he's like not acknowledging this as one of his children.
Hiding.
Is he not acknowledging this, or is he not acknowledging like the other?
The formal body of work is Baby Maker Extreme.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
I am distancing myself from myself.
Oh, he's claiming he was just lazy.
Okay.
Right. Like this game probably had
freakish
so
looking
much
lemon,
effort.
probably not going to sell
Too much denial.
animator.
Yeah, lazy. Like so, if you like, well, I don't know. Like to me, I want to make like those Geico commercials with the extra normal. You go to extranormal.com, you make those little animated scripts. Like that's what I want to do with it. But I never have the patience to sit down and do all the editing. We did do video of this one, so you can kind of get. We started the next internet meme. Go watch the video because we have set forth tasty waving bacon. Will be the next internet meme.
Tasty waving bacon. Wacky waving
and you are denied,
flailing bacon.
You are denied your tasty waving bacon. That's what all the kids will be saying. They will come up and be like, "Oh, denied tasty waving bacon."
You know how I know we're old? Because we just decided that we started a meme.
We did. It was magic. That's what happened. So we've got that up there, and we kind of go through.
You're getting too old for this crap.
For what we can cram in a trial in 8 minutes, I think we did a pretty good
no
job.
Familiar is mean.
But
yeah, if you do machinima, you're probably gonna like it. Otherwise, you're probably gonna look at it and go, "Whoa, that's a little more effort than I want to."
Like any of these artistic tools, even like Easy Muse, like you'd look at it and it's like, "Oh wow, I spent a lot of time in this." But some people will. Like, some people will, and they'll do some really cool things.
And actually, if you like Minecraft, same sort of logic. Yeah, it's
voxels.
That.
Stegosaurus tried to clone Minecraft, and he failed, and we have Pixel Animator 3D.
It cuts out the middleman. It cuts out the middleman and delivers the design capabilities straight to you.
It's animated creative mode.
Yes.
There you go.
It's saving you, it's passing the time savings on to you.
We just tweeted that, or just mentioned in chat, he's got a 5.5 conversion rate.
5.5%?
I don't think we had that on Inca Blocks.
I don't think Inca Blocks is a good benchmark.
I'm just saying he's got a better conversion rate than Inca Blocks.
Oh, hey, puzzle game. But whatever, I'm done.
I don't know, that's the one that might tick up over time. Who knows? Until it gets rating slammed. Next one up is Merball Tournament. Now, this is not a bad idea.
No.
It's some kind of mermaid soccer game in an underwater labyrinth. What killed me, because, hey, underwater soccer game, I'm in. Mermaids, let's do this. All right, go. I'm all set. The 3D controls were shit.
I turned upside down so many times, it's not even funny.
Not that I don't know how to looking at mermaid ass, but that's what I spent most of the game doing.
Well, I didn't know.
Because I couldn't quite.
I didn't know you could turn upside down. It was very. It was very.
You weren't
touchy.
going fast enough.
Well, yeah, but it was very touchy, and you did want to move quickly. But the problem with that is, you end up slamming into walls, and then you get the looking through the world thing going on.
Jim said the dev couldn't even play the game based on the video, so I guess if we go watch the video, we'll see that he had control issues too. Because the problem I had was, I got the ball, and there was plenty of room for me to go around the opposite team, because the computer doesn't control very well.
But
I couldn't get around them because of the crappy controls.
And, you can pick up the ball from 3 mermaids lengths away, almost.
Yeah, it's a weird... The bounding collision, or the detection of when you can grab the ball doesn't feel right. It feels like you should be a lot closer before you can be able to do it.
You have a sphere around you of where you can grab the ball, and it's much larger than her arms or her fins or whatever could reach.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the way to win is to have more people in the same area that can keep, trying to steal. So...
Steggs just reported that he is up to 6% now conversion rate. That is the power of a GameMarx boost right there. We will add 0.5% to your conversion rate if we like your game.
0.5% guarantee, not guaranteed. Not valid in all states. Your mileage may vary. Professional driver on closed course.
Do not attempt at home.
Do not attempt.
Results not typical of use.
Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Please consult your doctor if problems persist for more than 4 hours.
This may result in...
Next one up is Shock and Awe. and it contained neither shock nor awe.
No. More like
no.
Yeah.
Oh, that was harsh. That was harsh. I admit.
For the record, Dylan went there, not
I
Mike.
went there. Well, okay.
Dylan and Cicely.
No, that was awesome. I'm not taking anything from that. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
Dylan and Cicely were all both like, oh.
Who took that developer down at the knees? He's gonna be a burned out wino in an alley, just drinking himself and mumbling. Blah, blah, blah. Oh.
He would have to drink first.
Motherfucker Dylan. Oh, you know. I don't even know who did that game. Anyway, so we did video of it because we were hoping to. That wasn't the Code 4 game, was it?
No, I think that was That was Blocky. And Blocky only happened because Xbox signed us all out when we started the game.
Blocky did not detect if the player who started the game was signed in before grabbing the profile.
That is a fail condition, but it is a very hard to find condition.
By the stone tablets of the evil checklist that Moses brought down from Mount Sinai. It is a fail.
I understand.
And it was captured on video for entertainment purposes of all to watch.
But anyway, Shock and Awe, you know, it was kind of like the multiplayer dual stick shooter. You thought it was going to be a gauntlet
I was
style
hoping for
game.
all of us to get in and to kind of have, like, it would be more fun with if it spawned crazy numbers of monsters and it was kind of like this gauntlet throwback feel with the multiplayer. Because single player, no, it wasn't doing anything interesting. It wasn't doing anything for me. But that's kind of why we went to go do the video. But we couldn't, in trial mode, do multiplayer. So we didn't.
Yeah, and when I was playing it at home, it was really hard to see on my TV, like how to get around. It just seemed kind of dark. That may have been
the
my
dark
fault.
was probably you, but the fact that you couldn't see what was an actual path is probably the game.
Yeah, like it was just kind of rough. Like good concept. I think it could be polished up.
If you couldn't see as far, if like you zoomed in on the character a lot more, I think it would have felt a lot more like an old school 8-bit, and it would have.
Yes.
You would have had a better inkling about where you're supposed to go.
So we did that. Jim is saying that we should report the Blocky for a fail, and it's like I feel like I should contact the developer and tell them like, hey. Like find their peer review thread and then post in it because I know they'll get the email and say like, hey, I found this, and before I report it, you know, so they could like do a patch. And I don't feel like going to that fucking effort. I really don't.
It's
documented now.
It's going to be a very rare issue. YouTube. Yeah, it's going to be a very rare issue, and as valid as it is to make it an issue, it just feels like, you know, like.
What was the one I did report? What was the one that pissed me off? That
Alpha Squad?
No,
because I know that pissed you off.
No, he went through the right circles for that one. They still pissed him off.
I mean, Alpha Squad was just buggy on release, but I mean they knew it.
That was a multiplayer thing anyway.
Well, it didn't matter if you played single player; it crashed because it was running multiplayer in the code in the background on release. And no, the issue there was that they wanted me to review their patches, and it's like I did your game, I did a review, done.
I don't review patches.
Well, we reviewed whatever.
That's just the time that you have taken the most glee in.
But no, there was a game. There was a game that. Was it like a total fake into buying me? Like it?
Yes.
Torque Quest. Steg suggests Torque Quest.
Was it Torque Quest?
It was some sort of adventure game type thing.
That's what Steg thinks. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it was that. Yeah, it was something. That one I did like. You know, fuckers. I want my 80 points back. I want my $1.
No, I don't think we bought that. We had to reset.
No, he had an upsell pop-up.
Oh.
The one that just kept looping.
That's what he did. It wasn't he forced me to buy it. It's that they had this we had to force reset the console, and that fucked up the video recording. And I had to resequence all the, and spend a whole bunch of shit time editing. Yeah. That's why I went and reported the game. Because you made me spend an extra hour on Saturday editing these goddamn videos.
Editing or not, that's just like that. I know it wasn't intentional. But
I'm gonna have to cut this out and make it an outtake because we did it right in the middle of the new releases. Damn it! Yes. We got one more. Glow Arcade Racer, and we did video of this one. This is a very pretty looking RC Pro-Am type racer. That's what I identify it with. Basically, where you don't change view with the car, you're overhead and you kind of just turn.
It's done stylistically. Like the camera moves, but it doesn't move in a set way, or it doesn't seem to anyway.
The Glow Racer, it was not bad. I mean, it was done well. It looks excellent. I mean, if
I think
you buy this for the style, basically.
I think with enough time, even I would be able to control it better.
We definitely had fun to multiplayer.
It was
like,
very close.
Good party, jump right in, and get all that. So, I think overall it's kind of good. Maybe solo, it wasn't as interesting. Yeah. But it's got the different power-ups. I mean, so you have your...
it's a little hard to tell what they do at first.
What's that, Mario Kart
Yeah,
style?
like the turtle shell.
Turtle shell.
Your speed.
You get your speed boost. You got, lasers. You don't have you don't have the green turtle shell, the blue turtle shell, or...
I'll call it a shell bomb.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking play Mario Kart, I'll just be honest.
Well, there was the green, there was the red, there was the blue.
That's your young kids played that.
Was the
young kids and your Link to the Past and your Mario Karts.
Your blue shell was the fuck up the person in front shell.
Back in my day, we didn't even start Zelda with a sword. We had to go into the cave and get that shit from the old man.
Take this, you might need this.
You don't have to, you don't start Link to the Past with a sword, you have to get it from your dying uncle. Don't you?
But we didn't have a dying uncle to tell you to go do that.
You had an old man.
You have to go to bed. That's what you start off with, isn't it?
Yep.
What?
Yeah. You have to go to bed.
And it's raining. There are weather effects.
Yes, and there are weather effects.
Link to the Past, best Zelda.
You just had to imagine your weather effects. We couldn't even scroll the screen. You had one screen at a time.
I played Zelda, so...
Did you go back and play the classic Zelda already?
No, actually, I had a Nintendo before I had a Super Nintendo. It's not like... No, I've played the classic.
You said your first one was the...
Zelda 2.
Zelda 2, yeah.
Which is bizarre, but...
kind of weird.
Whatever.
At some point, a while back, we wrapped up our new releases of the week. That happened.
That is a thing that...
Game of the week. I'm going to say I'm not going to vote for Pixel Animator 3D because it's not a game. It's good. It's not a game. So,
and that way, if we don't vote for it, we don't feel guilty about...
we gave Stiggs his one. We gave Game of the
Everybody
Week to...
Everybody gets one, yeah.
Everybody gets their one,
yep. It's like Spider-Man.
Glow Arcade Racer, Ninja War, Blocky.
Making a Family Guy reference is not that funny.
I'm drunk.
You have had 2 beers, though, yes. Okay.
That's really it. Blocky, Ninja War, Stolen Scrolls, Glow... I don't really think we talked highly about any of the others. There's only 9 games this week.
Yeah, there's the Flight Sim.
The Flight Sim we did video of. Escape the Car we liked. We didn't do video. We did Shock and Awe and Pixel Animator did that, so.
It is rough.
Blocky and Ninja War, neither one posed a challenge.
Yeah.
On Glow, I did lose races to the computer.
Yes.
It looked like it was going to have a bunch of tracks and modes to unlock on there and build up. So, I would give it to Glow Arcade Racer. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
I liked the style of Glow, and I liked it when we actually played multiplayer for the video. I was kind of meh on it single player. My gut would have been Escape the Car or Ninja. I keep wanting to say Ninja Scroll, Ninja War, but I would seriously consider Glow, depending on.
Let's give a shout out for Smilertune here. When I hit it, I hit L Shift O to the quote and then dollar. All right, he was making a C64 reference. Go ahead, Cicely, on your game of the week.
Sigh.
We need to throw that reference in.
Sigh.
You holla. All right.
I'm not certain. I've been just thinking because I love the art style of Ninja. It was fun, but it wasn't even single player as difficult as it could have been. It would take me a long time to get used to Glow's controls enough for me to be able to play it competently. So,
all right, well,
so do you have a?
We could just go straight vote this week. You know, I mean, I'm not willing to filibuster.
Well, hold on. I just. You basically said why you wouldn't pick those two.
Yeah,
What
but those
would
are
you pick?
basically my favorite ones of the week.
Wow.
Yeah, and Block was way too
You
easy.
have to vote Democrat, Republican. It doesn't matter. It's down to the
Independent!
No, independent is still
There's
lesser
no
of
Ron Paul. in
less
this
of
option.
lesser of
There is
X
always a
evils.
Ron Paul!
It's still lesser of X evils.
Uh,
I don't care how many choices you have.
Ron Paul is your World Railway and Garden Party, whatever the hell that was. Plants.
He's so weird. The mainstream media doesn't know.
All right, straight up vote, Cicely. Just throw out a vote. Just make a goddamn decision.
Ninja, I'll go with.
Ninja. Dylan? See, now you know you decide. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It's all on you.
I would go with.
Dylan decides this week. He really wants to vote Ron Paul.
No, I would actually go with Ninja. Although, once you guys pointed out, I have hesitation on that, but that was my favorite. I didn't notice the lack of a challenge just because it was a fun beat 'em up until you guys pointed it out.
We took all the fun away.
Yes.
All right, but that's 2 votes on
Ninja.
So, congratulations, Ninja War Stolen Scrolls. You are GameMarx Game of the Week. You get a 0.6% conversion boost to your game.
Conversion boost may not actually be
You can
real.
put that check in the mail to... all right. Before we get out, Matt, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. Any words of wisdom? Any parting shots? Anything you want to reference?
I just, I owe Steger an apology that I called him Stegar earlier on accident. So
I like
just want to get
Stegar.
that out there.
I think I played Stegar. That was on Nintendo, wasn't it?
That was Rygar.
It was Stegar. You had the little ball thing that shot back.
That was Rager.
I know it was that. You guys are ruining whatever.
Yes.
Continue, Matt.
Yes, we are.
So I just wanted to give that apology, and I know that he works hard, makes good games, and keep at it, and one day you'll get the conversion rate you're looking for.
Oh, wow. All right.
Pat on the back. Virtual pat on the back.
Yeah. All right. Join us next week. Jim Perry, we will have on the show. I think at this point, Boki, I think, is the only MVP. I gotta, we're running, we may have gotten all the MVPs. We need to hurry up while there's still an XNA program to be an MVP of.
Ouch.
Do we actually have a Silver Dollar game released next week?
Really? I
Would be.
I didn't see any new releases since.
No. But I mean, for next week, it might be in peer
Queued up
review. Stegs said that in chat, and Stegs is up on the peer review scene. That would be great to have a Jim Perry podcast with a Silver Dollar game.
I won't even be playing them next week. What am I like?
Oh, that's right. You're going to be out next week.
Yes.
For GMX and
GMX.
weird probing of the body.
Yes, 3-day long. I'm a guinea pig, I guess, technically. I mean, I guess I've already been the guinea pig, but no,
There's
apparently.
one of those ads in the back of the thing of like, hey, come in for our medical test and
no,
we'll pay you $100 a day.
They actually are paying me for my time, which is what makes it different. Anyway, just to explain, when I was in high school, this is I want to say 96, 97, I was a patient at St. Jude in Memphis, and
You get a whole podcast dedicated to this.
they do, yes.
You can go to funkworks.com and pull up the cancer cast, and you can hear Dylan's cancer story and Mike's cancer story.
So, anyway, I went back for...
With sound effects.
that was the one you wanted to make, Radiolab.
Yep.
But anyway, so they, I went back every year for 10 years, and they, it was mainly, the checking to make sure it hadn't recurred, but also, side effects and stuff like that, because they take that they're a research hospital, so, that's kind of what they do is accumulate all this data so that they can improve. But they're doing some sort of long-term study, so basically I can go out there. And the 2 weeks that I had to make my appointment, it's like this crazy 3-day long appointment, coincided with GMX, which is in Nashville, so I'm like, I will drive out to Nashville, then drive to Memphis, then back to Nashville, and just take a week.
Which, for our listeners not in Tennessee, there's a lot of them, GMX is...
Geek Media Expo.
Expo.
It's put on by the same guys who do Middle Tennessee Anime Convention. It's kind of like a what...
Jim Perry said downloading Bloody Mary to fail it, and I think that's probably the Silver Dollar game.
Oh, is that a sequel to Fatal Seduction? Sounds like it should be.
I don't know. Did you see the Watch video?
No.
I showed this to Cicely. I don't know if this game is out or has passed. It's called, like, the worst game...
The most terrible game ever.
The most terrible game ever.
That's a high bar they're setting right there.
It's just a watch going back and forth.
He's like,
and a guy talking about how it's just a watch going back and forth.
And it's
and
him,
you're gonna buy it
and he's
anyway.
got that wonderful British accent.
Where's the game?
It reinforces...
That's an app. Where's the game?
It's the most terrible game ever.
No. That's the most terrible app ever.
It reinforces my theory, though, that Mad Ninjas is, in fact, Silver Dollar Games, because it's a British voice doing it. Just one more piece of the puzzle.
You know, there's a whole country full of people who have that accent.
But not everybody has that wonderful rumbly British voice. There's a rumbly, deep British voice that's just perfect. That is the American stylized
sound analysis.
English voice.
Whole country.
We should take his podcast. We should take his podcast and do voice fingerprint matching and analysis to prove
it wasn't
that's
the English granny.
At the end of the day...
I mean, again, look at what games he's released. Insane Bash. He's got Easy Muse over here, which is an app.
Yeah.
And Insane Bash. Like, that could be...
But, like, he's got his good persona, and then he's got, like, his evil persona. Like, no, I'm a legit game developer. Ha ha!
Exactly. He may not even know it. Don't confront him. He may not know it. It may be multiple personality disorder, and it's not a good idea to tell one personality about the others.
Nope.
So if he tries to bring it up, you're like, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
A Fight Club thing here?
Yes.
Have we got, like, you know, like...
yes.
Mad Ninja Skills is Ed Norton, and then Silver Dollar Games is Brad Pitt, you know, holding his hand under the acid.
No, but see, that may be the scary thing. Ed Norton may be Silver Dollar Games. Brad Pitt may be Mad Ninjas. We don't want him sane. We don't want to lose Brad Pitt here.
What?
They may be reversed.
Yeah, but Brad Pitt is the guy who's like, hey, let's blow up a bunch of buildings and, you know...
But
erase all the...
I guess what I'm saying, it may be reversed. You may have the personalities backwards on him, and you may kill the wrong one. If you bring him to sanity again.
I see what you're saying.
We have gone so far off. Hey, everyone. I think we're going to sign off and probably get some bed and end this show. So thank you, everyone, for watching.